I know what it feels like when the alarm goes off at 5:47 in the morning and your hand reaches over and hits snooze before your brain even registers it's alive. I know what it feels like to lie there on your back, staring at a crack in the ceiling. I know what it feels the weight of the day before it even begins. Your chest is tight, not because something is wrong with your heart, because everything feels wrong with your life. Your legs don't move, your jaw is clenched, your breathing is shallow, like your body is trying to take up as little space as possible in the world. You spend 30 seconds just lying there, then a minute, then 5, and somewhere in the silence between the sheets and the ceiling, a voice quiet but vicious says, "What's the point?" You know that voice. You've heard it before. Maybe you've been hearing it for months. That moment, that exact moment, is what I want to talk to you about today, because that moment is not the end of your story. That moment is the raw material. That moment is the forge. Let me tell you about a man named Marcus. Marcus is 31 years old. He works at a distribution warehouse on the east side of the city. He gets up every morning at 5:15. He doesn't live in an Instagram house. He lives in a 2-bedroom apartment on the 3rd floor of a building with no elevator and a mailbox that's been broken for 4 months. Every morning he sits at a small kitchen table, chipped on one corner, propped up with a folded piece of cardboard, and he drinks black coffee and stares at a pile of bills that never seems to get smaller no matter how many hours he works. Marcus has a scar on his left hand. He got it 3 years ago when a crate slipped at work and a metal edge dragged across his palm. 12 stitches. He was back on the floor in 6 days because he couldn't afford to miss a full week. 6 days. He wrapped his hand in a bandage, pulled a glove over it, and went back. Not because someone cheered for him, not because anyone clapped, because the work had to be done. Marcus doesn't talk about what he's carrying. He just carries it. Every single day. He pushes through a shift that starts at 6 a.m. and ends whenever the trucks are loaded. He sweats through his shirt by 7. By noon his back is on fire. By 3 p.m. his legs are screaming. And by the time he gets home, climbs those 3 flights of stairs and sits back down at that kitchen table, there is nothing left. His hands are rough, his muscles are burning, his bones ache in that deep, specific way that only comes from real labor. And Marcus still shows up. Every morning, same table, same coffee, same stairs. That's not inspiration. That is a decision made in the dark, with no audience, with no applause, with nothing but the brutal reality of a life that requires his effort to keep moving. Now I can already hear some of you thinking it. Go ahead, say it in your head. You're thinking that's easy for you to say. You don't know what I'm dealing with. You don't know my situation. You don't know how many times I've already tried and failed. You don't know how tired I am. I hear you. I'm not going to dismiss that, but I want to push back on something not gently, but directly. You're right that I don't know every detail of your specific situation, but I know this fatigue lies. Fatigue tells you you're done when you have more left. It tells you it's impossible before you've tried the next approach. It tells you everyone else has it easier when the truth is that every single person who ever built anything real built it through seasons where they were running on empty. Marcus doesn't have some secret advantage you don't have. He doesn't have extra hours in his day. He doesn't have a trust fund or a mentor or a perfect plan. He has a cracked kitchen table, a pile of bills, and a decision he makes before the sun comes up. The decision is this: I will do the work. Not, I will feel like doing the work. Not, I will wait until I'm inspired to do the work. The work, regardless, anyway, today. That is not motivation in the fluffy sense. That is a bone-level commitment. That is a decision so deep it lives in your jaw, in your chest, in the way you swing your legs off the bed in the morning even when every part of you wants to stay down. Get up, breathe, move. Let me tell you about someone else. Her name is Diana. Diana is a single mother of 2. She works as a nursing assistant at a care facility, double shifts on Tuesdays and Thursdays. She wears the uniform from the day before sometimes because she ran out of clean ones, and the laundry has been piling up in the corner of her bathroom for a week. Her apartment smells like reheated food and children's shampoo and something faintly like exhaustion, if exhaustion had a smell. She sits on the edge of her bed at 10 p.m. after the kids are down, and she doesn't move for a while. She just sits. Her hands are open in her lap. She's not praying. She's not meditating. She is simply for the first time in 16 hours still. And in that stillness, something strange happens. She doesn't quit. She has every reason to. She has the numbers stacked against her, the system stacked against her, her own body telling her enough. But she doesn't quit. She rubs her face with both hands, stands up, goes to the kitchen, makes 2 sandwiches for tomorrow's lunches, packs 2 backpacks, lays out 2 sets of clothes, and then, and only then, she sleeps. That's not a miracle. That's not divine intervention. That is a woman who has forged herself through repetition, through the sheer, grinding, unglamorous act of doing the necessary thing one more time. She doesn't have a coach. She doesn't have a strategy. She has 2 kids who need her to show up tomorrow, and that is enough. That is more than enough. That is everything. Repetition, repetition, repetition. That is the architecture of every real thing ever built. Not one great moment of inspiration, not one speech that changed everything, not one morning where you woke up and the world rearranged itself for you. It is the 1,000 small acts of stubbornness, the 10,000 micro-decisions to keep going, the scar tissue that builds up over years of refusing to stay down. You don't forge steel with a single blow. You heat it, and you hammer it, and you heat it again, and you hammer it again, and again until it becomes something that can bear weight. You are being forged right now. You just can't feel it yet. The ache in your chest is not weakness. It is pressure being applied to raw material. The things that are breaking you down are doing it because you are the kind of material that transforms under pressure, not shatters. Some people crack. You haven't cracked. You're still here. But let me ask you something, and I want you to really sit with this for a moment, because what I'm about to say goes against something you've been told your entire life. There's a lie, a specific, deeply embedded lie, that most people carry around like it's the truth. It gets whispered to you in the moments of hardest failure. It gets reinforced every time you fall. It sounds reasonable. It sounds almost kind. And it has been stealing your momentum every single time you're about to rise. I'm going to tell you exactly what that lie is in a moment. But first I need to tell you my story, because I haven't earned the right to stand here without putting my own skin in the game. I was 23 years old. I had just failed, not came close but didn't quite make it failed. I mean failed completely, spectacularly, visibly. I had spent 8 months building something I believed in with every cell in my body. I had told people about it. I had put money I didn't have into it. I had poured nights and weekends into it while working a job I hated during the days. And it fell apart. Not slowly, all at once. One Tuesday morning, in the parking lot of a commercial building downtown, I sat in my car and I held a black notebook in my hands. It was the notebook where I'd written every goal, every plan, every version of the future I was trying to build, and I just held it. I didn't cry. I was past crying. I just sat there, hands wrapped around that notebook, knuckles white, jaw tight, staring at the dashboard. I thought, this is it. I'm not built for this. Maybe some people are just not built for this. I sat in that car for 47 minutes. I know because I watched the clock go from 913 to 1000, and then something small and completely unremarkable happened. My phone buzzed. It was a text from my mother, nothing important, just something ordinary, the kind of message that gets sent and received 100 times a day. But in that moment, in that parking lot, it was the smallest possible proof that the world was still moving, and I made a decision, not a beautiful decision, not a decision driven by sudden clarity or divine inspiration, a grinding, reluctant, almost angry decision. I am going to get out of this car. I am going to go back inside. I am going to do the next thing, not the big thing, not the whole thing, just the next thing. I opened the car door. I put my feet on the ground. I walked back inside. That was it. That was the whole miracle. And here is the lie, the one they've been telling you your whole life, the one I promised I'd name. The lie is this: you have to feel ready before you move. You've heard it dressed up in different ways. Wait for the right moment. Trust the process. When you're aligned, you'll know. And every single one of those phrases, however well-intentioned, teaches you the same broken logic that your feelings are the prerequisite for your actions. They're not. Movement comes before the feeling. You don't wait until you feel brave to act brave. You act brave imperfectly, awkwardly, with your hands shaking and the feeling follows. You don't wait until you feel strong to train. You train, and the strength comes. You don't wait until you feel motivated. You move. And in the moving, the motivation is built one rep, one step, one decision at a time. This is not a motivational catchphrase. This is how the brain actually works. Action creates momentum. Momentum creates feeling. Feeling creates belief. And belief, real belief, not the kind you recite in a mirror, but the kind you earn through doing that belief, becomes unbreakable. You are not broken. You are not broken, even though the weight is real. You are not broken, even when the bills don't stop, even when the effort hasn't paid off yet, even when the people around you have started to doubt, even when you have started to doubt, even when you are sitting at a cracked kitchen table before sunrise, or on the edge of a bed with nothing left, or in a parking lot with a notebook you almost want to throw out the window. You are not broken, even when the whole world screams that it's over. So here is what I need from you. Not next week, not after you've had time to think about it, not when you feel ready. Now, right now. You have been carrying something heavy, for days, maybe for months. You've been dragging it through every morning, through every shift, through every setback and disappointment and sleepless night. And you've been doing it quietly, without applause, without a camera, without anyone handing you a trophy. That is not nothing. That is the work. That is the decision made in the dark. That is the forge. You push when no one is watching. You bleed through the hard days and you don't show it. You build with your hands, with your sweat, with your scar tissue, one brick at a time, on a foundation that nobody else can see. And every time you got knocked down, every single time you got up. Maybe slowly, maybe ugly, maybe you didn't feel like you got up, maybe you just dragged yourself up on your hands and knees and called it standing. It counts. Every time counts. Because this is not a highlight reel. This is a life. And in a life, you don't score points for looking good when you rise. You score points for rising, period. So what is the choice? The choice is always the same. Every morning, every setback, every moment when the voice says, "What's the point?" The choice is do the work, make the decision, take the next step, repeat. Not someday, not when the conditions are perfect, not when you feel like it. Now, today, with what you have, from where you are. You are not broken. Say it with me in your chest. Feel it in your rib cage. You are not broken. The last thing I want to say to you, and I mean this with everything I have, is this. Every person in this room who has ever failed and come back, who has ever hit the floor and stood up, who has ever made the choice to try one more time on a day when trying felt impossible, you have already proven something that no speech, no book, no coach can give you. You've proven that you don't stop. That is not a personality trait. That is a practice. It is built through work, through repetition, through failure, through the sweat of doing the thing again after you've already done it 100 times. It is built through choosing over and over to show up, not perfectly, not without fear, not without doubt, but showing up. That's it. Work, decide, fail, get up, repeat. Marcus is doing it. Diana is doing it. I did it in a parking lot at 23 with a notebook in my hands and nothing but the next step in front of me. And you are going to do it, starting right now. Here is what I need you to do, not tomorrow, now. Stand up straight, roll your shoulders back, put your feet flat on the floor and feel the ground underneath you. Solid, real, yours. Now say it out loud, not in your head, out loud, where your own ears can hear it, where your own chest can feel it vibrate. I am not broken. Say it like you mean it. Say it to yourself like Marcus says it to the stairs. Say it like Diana says it when she stands up from the edge of that bed. Say it like I said it in that parking lot, angry and grieving and terrified, and absolutely refusing to stay down. I am not broken. Now go do the work. Make the decision. Choose right now, today, in this moment to take the next step. Not the perfect step, not the big step, the next one. Because you are not built to stay on the floor. You are built to rise. You have proven it every single time you've faced something that should have stopped you, and it didn't. You are unbroken. Now go show the world what that means.